tops with maroon pants. First pitch underway. Ball one. You see Tobias leading things off, hitting .318. Still looking for her first hit in this series.
And the defense for Purdue here playing really in for Tobias. Scamardo is basically playing halfway up towards the plate.
Ball two, that one a little low and outside. It's a good start by Tobias. Here comes the 2-0. Thought about a bunt. Instead, it's strike one.
Yeah, Elish kind of needed that one. She just needed to get it over the plate. Obviously, Tobias is a pretty solid hitter this season. .318 batting average for her on the year. But she's always a bunt threat because of her lethal speed. But she, Minnesota doesn't use it quite that much on the base paths.
Strike two called. Back-to-back strikes looking for Minnesota. Elish fighting her way back into this count.
Yeah, this has been a good fight here from Elish just in the first batter of the game, coming over with those 2 balls and then getting the 2 strikes back on her.
Just outside, some off-speed there. Good discipline there by Tobias, 5'5" senior from Urbandale, Iowa. See Elish very focused there in the circle, trying to get her first strikeout. Only had 2 yesterday. That one popped into left field. Polar is there, and a routine fly ball for the first out of the game.
Yeah, pretty good at-bat there to start the game for Tobias, working the count to full against Elish, who obviously threw the entire game yesterday and getting a fly ball, but there's a reason why Purdue was playing pretty in on her. She doesn't really have the power threat that Krapf does coming up behind her.
And what's so impressive about this Purdue outfield is just the range that they have. It seemed like Banks, Polar, and Ramos, especially yesterday, were just making plays all over the field, getting balls that you would not expect an average college outfielder to get. See ball one there. Stepping up to the plate is Taylor Krapf, the catcher. That one is crushed into left field, and Polar is there, running in on it. Krapf still looking for that first hit in the series. She's been frustrated earlier on in the weekend. Good opportunity there, but Polar shuts it down.
Yeah, just a touch off the end of the bat there from Krapf, and Polar obviously with that blazing speed able to close that gap rather quickly and make it look pretty routine after playing pretty deep into the left field corner.
That one low for ball one for Nani Valencia. Minnesota making good contact here to start this first inning, but Purdue defense shutting them down early. Valencia fouls that one away.
Valencia's had the best season at the plate for the Gophers thus far. .348 average, the OPS up near .950, 4 homers, 15 ribbies to her name thus far. She's got the highest batting average on the team by about 30 points over Margaret Tobias.
And she's got the first hit of the day. Punches that one into right field. Stuck behind the second baseman, Meeks, and Nani Valencia aboard with 2 outs.
Yeah, just the 6th hit for Minnesota on this series, but nice job going the other way, just going with the pitch from Elish and getting your base hit where you can.
Yeah, you got to wonder, as you take a look at the replay here, just kind of poked off the end of the bat, even a little late to that one, but that one squeaks through. And if you're Minnesota, you can take all the hits you can get the way this series has gone. Ball one outside for Chavez.
You also have to consider with Minnesota, they're going to have to get a heck of a lot of hits to drive runners in. They rank dead last in stolen bases in the NCAA. They've only stolen 3 bags this year, and they've played 36 games. They are very much a station-to-station offense.
That one popped into center field. Ramos going back at the warning track, makes the play for out number 3. A 2-out single for Minnesota is left stranded, and we'll be back. You're watching Big Ten Plus.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Or is a walk almost a win, it seems like. 0-1 to Reese. Reese punches this one to right field. Banks is going to come around and score. The throw is not in time. Delaney Reef with the first RBI of the game. Boilers jump out 1-0.
A nice swing from Reef there, just hitting it over the second baseman out there and into the outfield, and obviously the speed of Chloe Banks coming around to score from second. Just a nice swing, going with that low pitch, taking it the other way, not trying to do too much with it. I was surprised that Mariah Poehler didn't take third. There was really nobody covering there, but I think she was just caught ball watching a little bit. But obviously Julia Gossett coming up, and she's also a high deliverer for Purdue.
Had an RBI yesterday. On Friday, Gossett pitched and pitched another complete game with a career-high 12 strikeouts, Max.
Yeah, I mean, she's just a fantastic two-way player. She's a great first baseman in the field as well. She is just all that she's been cracked up to be throughout her career.
Purdue thought about stealing, but the throw's over to the third baseman. And both Poehler and Reef jog back to their respective bases. One on Gossett. Outside for ball 2.
It's hard to stay focused when you're in the circle, when you've got such a big running threat right behind you. You know it's there, but you can't see it. And obviously when Mariah Poehler takes her secondary, she pretends she's going to steal anyway.
Big swing there by Gossett, chasing that fastball, 2-2. Seen a little more offense here in the first inning than we have the past few games. See what Gossett can do with this opportunity. Players on first and second. That one outside, and we have a full count.
And Gossett this season hitting .283 with runners in scoring position. So, you know, a little bit down from her season average, but she generally keeps it pretty typical.
That one fouled off into the net, falling into the Minnesota dugout. Seen good crowds here in Bittinger Stadium all weekend. Excited to see the Boilermakers play, despite the lackluster weather. Gossett fouls that one off. Going to be the 8th pitch of this at-bat coming up. Hasek already nearing 20 pitches in the first inning. Always something to be aware of.
Yeah, Gossett is really making Hasek work in the circle here and just driving up that pitch count and making her that much more uncomfortable.
And that one outside, and Hasek walks the bases loaded. Big opportunity now for Jordan Ramos, the center fielder, as Minnesota is yet to record an out still.
Yeah, it's been a tough go of it early on. Obviously, the bunt single from Banks, the 4-pitch walk to Poehler. Delaney Reef ends up making them pay, and then now the long at-bat turned into a walk by Julia Gossett. And Jordan Ramos is certainly a capable hitter with runners in scoring position, hitting .417 with runners on second and third this season.
We'll see if Hasek can get out of this jam. Fouled away.
I think the good thing about Purdue's offense is that they don't try to do too much. There's not really that urge to, I got to hit a grand slam here. I got to clear the bases. It's just station to station. Let's just get our base hits. Let's get our singles, and we'll bring people around that way.
A strategy that's been working as of late for the Boilermakers. Ramos takes strike one. Ramos, the last Purdue player to hit a home run a few games ago. Another home run at a moment like this be huge. That one downstairs for ball one.
Yeah, Hosek threw a nice changeup on that 0-1 pitch to get it down to 0-2, and she tried to go back to it, but just too low, and Ramos was well met to it.
Fouled away. Purdue doing a good job so far of just keeping at-bats alive when they've gotten to 2 strikes. Last time it turned into a walk for Gossett. We'll see what Ramos can do here. Fouled away.
And these innings, they just feel like they take forever when you're out in the field, and especially when you're in the circle. I mean, you're already up to going to be your 25th pitch. You're only on your 5th batter. You haven't recorded an out yet. But when you're skidding like Minnesota is, everything seems to be going against you.
Strike 3, a big strikeout there by Hosek to put away Ramos for the first out. Base is still loaded, but now the double play potential.
Yeah, good pitch there from Hosek, just raising it up. So Ramos had to get the bat speed up there, but she just couldn't catch up.
Strike 1 there. Pitching to Maura Condon. The designated player for Purdue. She's hitting .250 on the year. That one at the knees, ball 1.
You see Condon's season stats there, .250 on the season, .706 OPS. And the 11 RBIs have come in droves for her. She's hitting .346 with runners on, so she's much better when there are runners on the base paths than she is when she's just batting with an empty field.
And hitting .400 with the bases loaded, Max. See this Purdue team kind of like thrives in good situations. Seems like all their batting average numbers go up, or their situational numbers go up with, runners on, runners in scoring position compared to their seasonal averages.
Yeah, the high leverage hitting has been much better for Purdue this season than in seasons past. And on the Minnesota side of this, if you can get out of this with just 1-2 runs given up, I mean, that's going to seem like a huge relief.
That one smacked into the corner, fair ball. That one rolls all the way to the wall. 1 run scores, 2 run scores, a third. Maura Condon clears the bases, and it's 4-0 Boilermakers. A slicing double that rolled all the way to the wall in right field. And a big-time hit, 3 RBIs for Condon. Purdue blows this one open here in the bottom of the first.
Yeah, I'd like to personally apologize to Presley Hosek. I accidentally jinxed her there, but nice swing there from Maura Condon. Just going with the outside pitch, just hitting it down the line. It just kept rolling and rolling in that wet grass out there, and bases clearing double, and it has really blown open. As you said, it's 4-0, more runs than Purdue has scored. I mean, basically all game. They scored 4 last night, and they've now scored 4 in just 1 inning with here.
Sage Carmato on the ground, right back to the pitcher for out number 2. She is able to advance Condon to third. But going back to that bases clearing double, everyone was kind of holding their breath. It looked like it might have gone foul, might have gone fair. Just stays on the inside of that foul ball line and, eventually rolls all the way to the wall out of the reach of Nani Valencia. But you just mentioned it, high leverage hitting, something the Boilermakers have improved on, and comes at a huge moment now.
Yeah, and for Minnesota's pitching staff, it's usually been a system of, well, we're not giving up a heck of a lot of runs, but we're not really getting the run support we need to win ball games. I mean, the team ERA this season coming into this game for Minnesota was just at 4.29. That's about middle of the pack in the country, which is quite surprising for a team that's 13-23. They just haven't been getting the run support, but today it's the complete opposite, 4 runs in the first.
Olivia Meeks trying to add on. She's worked her way up to a 3-0 count. And Hosek eclipsing the 35 pitch mark.
And I know Hosek is probably kicking herself for getting into this count against Olivia Meeks, who's hitting just over 200 this season.
That one taken for strike 1. See the numbers for Meeks. 15 RBIs, 3 home runs, .203 average. We'll say the one weakness of this Boilermaker squad is power. Ranking second to last in the Big Ten in home runs.
Yeah, but conversely for Purdue, as we've talked about, they have no problem with just kind of just getting the job done type of hits. I mean, they're 109th in the country in runs per game, so they're doing something right.
Right. A walk there taken by Meeks. Now, players on the corners, again with 2 outs, see if Purdue has any lingering momentum as they bat through the entire order with Ashlyn Campbell coming up.
Yeah, and that's a frustrating at-bat for Hosick. I mean, obviously, Meeks just hitting over the Mendoza line and giving up a walk in a pretty light situation there when the inning has already folded in on itself is just so frustrating, especially when you've thrown as many pitches as you have.
Especially being able to make it to the end of the order and letting an easy walk come by. Got to be frustrating. See Hosick. That one's in there for a strike. Garrett Knowles, the home plate umpire. Michael Hernandez, over there at first base, and Mindy Villa at third. Strike 2, big cut there by Campbell, but chasing that fastball that was up in the zone. That's been Hosick's go-to pitch this inning, it seems like, sort of that rising fastball that kind of lures batters in to swing at something out of the zone. Down and away, and it's 2-2.
And I think Hosick's actually done a pretty good job this inning in terms of pitch mix. I mean, obviously the results have not panned out the way that she would have wanted, but she's been mixing her pitches really well. The location's been good. She's given up relatively weak contact to this point.
That one sliced into left field, and one more run is going to score. Ashlyn Campbell with the RBI single.
And again, just another example of that Purdue hitting. Just go with the pitch. Don't try and do too much with it. Another opposite field hit for the Boilermakers, and now they turn the lineup over to Chloe Banks, and it has been just all Purdue to start this one.
Yeah, you see again from the swing by Campbell, kind of coming at it late a little bit, but working out, just being able to be aggressive at the plate, and you see what happens there when you take that approach. It seems like Purdue's had a very different approach at the plate this game than they have the past two. Banks had a single earlier in the first inning. This is her second time up already. 0-2. Hosick just trying to escape this inning with little damage. Banks fouls that one away. Count will stay 0-2.
Chloe Banks' back control is just immaculate sometimes. I mean, just the way that she's able to just move her elbows and those wrists just to get to any ball that she needs to is just a great skill to have as a leadoff hitter.
She certainly fit the role of a textbook hitter with her speed, with her versatility at the plate. Here comes the 1-2. Inside. Banks continuing to fight off Hosick here.
And Hosick is just praying for this inning to be over already. 48 pitches on one frame is not what you want to see.
Outside for ball 3, another full count. I think that the entire Minnesota fan base wanted that one to be called strike 3.
Now Hosick's been flirting with that lower outside corner all day long. Well, all inning long, rather.
And believe that's ball 4. Banks not going anywhere.
I just don't even think she
there we
realizes
go. I was going to say. So now Mariah Poehler has a chance with the bases loaded, her second time up in this inning, and a chance to maybe do even more damage in the first.
Yeah, and the first base coach actually had to come run back to the dugout to go return all the elbow guards and shin guards so that Purdue's batters can go have them again. She's collected so many this inning, she could have started a factory.
Poehler walked her first time up, takes strike 1. First pitch.
And this is not the situation you want to see Mariah Poehler hitting in.
Not the situation at all. It's kind of gone bad to worse here for Minnesota these past few batters. And credit to Purdue. Their 7, 8, and 9 hitters all had tremendous plate appearances. Scamardo with a fielder's choice, and then Meeks and Campbell both getting aboard.
And this is a tough spot for Hasek because you want to challenge on 1 and 2. You want to try and get Poehler to bite on something, but you don't want to give her something too good.
And you saw on your screen there, batting 1,000 with the bases loaded. Hard to find a scarier statistic than that if you're a Minnesota fan, given the situation. That one high once again. And once again, it's a full count. Big pitch here for Hasek. You always dream of the scenario. Bases loaded, 3 and 2 with 2 outs. Here it is. Poehler. That one grounded to the shortstop, and she is in time for out number 3. So Hasek gets out of the jam, but the damage was done by the Boilermakers. A lot of RBIs for the team. Started with Delaney Reef punching one into right field. Then Maura Condon with a bases loaded double. All in all, 5 runs for Purdue on 4 hits. We go to the top of the second to see how Minnesota responds.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Contact ideology.
I wonder if Elish thinks she could also be, maybe even more aggressive with her pitches, knowing that Minnesota has to be a lot more aggressive themselves at the plate, given that they're down 5-0. They can't just, she has a lot more leverage in the circle with this 5-0 lead.
Yeah, and it's obviously a very delicate balance between trying to be really aggressive when you're up by a lot, but then you can also be way too aggressive, and then all of a sudden the game's not over and it's 5-4 in the second inning, and you've given up too many runs because you've just thrown the ball down the middle.
Elish making quick work of the first 2 Minnesota batters. That one, a ground out to the third baseman, Scarmato. So 2 routine plays by this Purdue infield. And Elish still below the 20 pitch mark. There's already 2 outs here in the second. That one high and outside, ball 1. Breezy Burnett, the center fielder. This is Maggie Werner, first baseman, hitting .239 with 5 RBIs.
And it's been an area concern for Minnesota, the offense. Just 2 hitters hitting over 300 this season. And it has just been a struggle trying to pull runs in. And really, the biggest thing for me, obviously, hitting over 300 is an excellent batting average, but there's only 5 players hitting over 250. And that's really an issue when you're trying to pull a lot of runs back at a big time, because you're not getting enough people on base.
Right, the consistency has been an issue all year. Werner did not get the start yesterday. Now at first base today. Swings and misses there. Good pitch there by Elish, 1 and 2. Werner's come out swinging here. Missed on that one. Fouled one away already.
Yeah, that was an ugly swing from Werner, who was way ahead of that change, and Maddie Elish just doing what she does best, mixing her speeds and making sure that Minnesota's taking their hacks.
That one low and away. Good eye by Werner, not Chase. But again, Max, I feel like that's kind of the situation that Minnesota's in. You might see a few more of these ugly swings just because they feel added pressure to, really make the most of any pitch that looks like a strike. And a called out by the home plate umpire, Garrett Knowles. Might have been a pitch clock issue, but regardless, the inning is over.
to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
405 compared to her 276 season average. She had a strikeout in the first inning. She's come out swinging so far.
But going back to that gossip blooper in the center field, that Minnesota's on a 9-game losing streak right now. Nothing's going right, and when you're in these kinds of slumps, I mean, it just doesn't feel like anything's ever going to go your way, and it has certainly felt the exact same way today. The first inning was just so brutal for Minnesota. 4 free passes on what were some pretty good pitches and just nibbling around the corners, and a lot of soft contact from Hasek, but just finding the gaps. It's just kind of brutal when you're in these situations because you don't really know what to do with yourself.
Ramos grounds out but advances the runner. 2 away. McCauley gets to third. Just a little routine play there by the second baseman thrown on to Werner.
Yeah, the new entry, Easton, getting some action right away.
See McCauley standing over there at third. That one crushed into the gap. McCauley's going to score easily, scooped up by the center fielder, but the damage has been done. It is 6-0 Purdue. Maura Condon with her 4th RBI of the game. 1 pitch, 1 hit. And Condon having a terrific game.
Yeah, Condon, timely hitting has been the name of the game for her. Not just in this game, but all season. It has really been the exact same way for her. And another base hit for her, another RBI, 4 on the day, 2 for 2 with a double and a single. I mean, it's been a fantastic game for her, and, she could stop playing right now after 2 innings and call it a day, and she'd be very happy with that.
Scarmardo 0 for 1 already today. That one crushed and gets by the second baseman. Throw back to the second base, and they call her safe. Condon somehow got back in time, tried to round second to get to third, kind of lost track of where the ball was.
For Condon, who a little bit of a mental lapse there and just kind of getting caught out. We'll see what the call is.
Out is the call, so the inning's over. Hasek gets out of a jam. Condon
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Numbers, and that is a really lethal 1-2 punch for Purdue.
Yeah, obviously, like you said, another experienced pitcher too. Kendall Klacek, a senior. Maddie Ellish, also a senior. Klacek, a lefty, so attacking some of the lefties in this lineup for Minnesota. But to be able to go from one experienced pitcher to another, you just really almost have to tip your cap if you're Minnesota, as the road's not getting any easier with Klacek at the mound. First pitch is a strike there for Kayla Chavez.
Yeah, and for Minnesota, obviously, Kendall Klacek is a great pitcher, but
as you see, another error there, this time coming to the hands of Ashlyn Campbell. The sure-handed Purdue defense with a couple lapses in judgment here. Just like that. Runners on first and third for Minnesota, as that one just slips out of the glove at Campbell.
Yeah, that's a tough one for Campbell, as ended up getting in the way was Valencia to kind of impede her vision there, and they ended up they do call that a single for Chavez, so no error for Campbell there, but still, I mean, that is one that you would ideally want her to pull in.
So some momentum here for Minnesota. The first time we've really seen good offensive momentum for them all weekend. Like you said, on that last hit, going right at Valencia, you could say she was setting a screen on Campbell, making it a lot tougher. You see Snippes already has one hit today, 1 for 2, single coming in the fourth.
Yeah, and like we were saying with Minnesota, that obviously this game is far from over. We're only in the top of the fourth. It's only a 5-run lead for Purdue, but going against Kendall Klacek, yeah, it's tough, but it's not like you're going against Lindsey Green or Carlin Pickens or anything like that. It's Klacek. There are holes in her game. There are some things that she does have issues with. She has had some control issues this season. She's had a couple games where She's issued a lot of free passes. So Minnesota just trying to poke enough holes in the armor of Purdue to get out of this one and make it a close game.
And this is one where you're happy to have an experienced pitcher on the mound. You know, Klochak faced a lot of batters in her time and been in situations like this before, and just having someone who's comfortable getting out of jams, you know, knowing situationally what the right pitches are to make. This one's on the ground, a diving effort to no avail, squeaking into the outfield, and another base hit. This one goes for an RBI, and Snip is now 1 for 2 on the day. Is that one? Meeks just could not make the play. And Minnesota now with some life, cutting their deficit to 4, with still 2 runners on.
Yeah, and this usually very shorthanded Purdue defense that typically has no problems making tough plays like that has all of a sudden just kind of been kicking and throwing the ball all around the diamond, and it's been a struggle this inning for Purdue.
Right, yesterday so many highlight plays from the Boilermakers. Both Ramos and Banks had diving outfield grabs. It seemed like everything was going Purdue's way, as there is strike 1. But now here today, the ball kind of bouncing the other way in favor of Minnesota, and we're seeing what's happening. See Burnett 0 for 1 on the day. Burnett checks her swing, 1-1 now. Purdue has not recorded an out here in this half inning. Minnesota making this a game very much alive here with plenty of softball left to play. Burnett pops that one up and out of play. Scaring a family. That ball came crashing out of nowhere.
If you're Kendall Klochak, this is the exact hitter that you want to see at the plate right now. I mean, Burnett's hitting under the Mendoza line this season, just 194 coming into this game, so not a huge threat with the bat in her hands.
This one popped up behind home plate, and Reef tracks it down to get the first out. Runners hold at first and second, but that coveted first out comes in the form of a pop out where, you know, no runners could advance, and really there was no harm done.
Yeah, and Delaney Reef has been a very, very solid addition to this Purdue team, obviously transferring from Maryland after her first season in college, and has been one of the more reliable fielding catchers in the Big Ten this season.
With one out, you got to wonder the inning-ending double play on the board here. This one on the ground. Throw on to third in time. Scarmardo holds. So smart play there by Campbell to get the lead runner. Essentially have the same situation we just did with now 2 outs.
Yeah, high IQ play from Ashlyn Campbell out there at short. Just a little backhand flip towards third, get the lead runner. No real chance of turning 2 there. Just get the easy out where you can, get the lead runner, and get the second out of the inning.
Jake Cosgrave, the left fielder, coming back in. Cosgrave, a freshman. And she's going to talk things over with Coach Ritter. Obviously a very big situation here for Minnesota. Ritter we've seen her make a couple switches to the lineup, took Cosgrave out, put her back in. Playing around with pinch runners and stuff like that, kind of pulling out all the steps to get Minnesota back in this game. See the numbers for Cosgrave. Only 2 RBIs. She would love to get that number up in this situation.
Yeah, and right now for Cosgrave, what you really want to do is just keep the line moving. You know, don't try and do too much with this swing. Just try and put it somewhere in play. Try and get the ball down. You don't have to be the hero here. You don't have to slash the lead to 1 with just 1 swing. It'd be nice, but you don't have to.
Cuts and misses there. Already falls into an 0-2 hole. Here's the pitch. Tapped off and off the cages there in the first base dugout. We'll do it over again. That one high, ball one.
And Cosgrove is going to need to fight back in this at-bat in a big way. Down 0-2 originally. Now you got to fight back against a very talented Klochek.
That one high for ball two. Control for Klochek, maybe getting away from her a little bit those last two pitches.
Yeah, perhaps that was just a ploy to try and get a chase out of Cosgrove.
That one smoked into left field at the wall. It is gone. A home run for Minnesota. Jake Cosgrove nearly gets it all back in one swing. And just like that, the Golden Gophers within one. The entire team greeting Cosgrove. Just added 3 more RBIs to her season total, and it came at a big, big moment. She got all of it on that swing and just drove it into left field and out of here.
First home run of the season for Cosgrove, and that's a huge swing to cut the lead to just 1 for the Boilermakers, as they've seen it all evaporate just in this half inning. And now I was saying, Cosgrove, you don't have to do too much with it, but hey, what do I know, right?
Yeah, and you know, right on cue, she must have been listening to you, Max, because she surprised everybody here. And this one's not done. Off the glove of Campbell. Minnesota really feeling it at the plate right now as Easton gets aboard. So the freshman making some magic happen at the plate. You got to wonder, the decision to pull Maddie Ellis starting to come back to bite the Boilers a little bit as Klochek is giving up some runs here.
Yeah, and conversely, if Purdue hadn't committed 2 errors on the inning, this would be over, and they'd only given up 1 or 2 runs to this point. So, you know, as much as you would like Klochek to not give up the home run, and obviously she shouldn't, but it's kind of hard when the defense isn't making the plays that they normally do for you.
Right. This defense normally so sure-handed, something that the entire coaching staff preaches. You know, little plays, you know, in the moment you think, oh, you know, it just turned out to be a single, or, you know, there was nobody on, nothing major happened, but, you know, eventually not getting out of the inning starts to really add up. That one chopped and out of play. And like you said, Purdue had multiple chances to end the inning. They can't convert, and, you know, 3-run home run from Jake Cosgrove comes immediately after.
Man, the official scores had changed that Campbell miscue from a hit to an error, so Purdue has 2 errors on the inning. And it's just a struggle when you do that. It's really difficult when you can't get the outs that you need, and, you know, instead of it being 3 outs, you're giving away 4 or 5 outs just in one frame. And Minnesota, who is very reliant on the long ball for offense, strikes you with it once, and all of a sudden they're back in the game.
The crowd goes dead silent here at Bittinger Stadium as a 6-run lead becomes a 1-run lead, a 5 spot here in the 4th inning for the Golden Gophers. And the top of the order up, Tobias fighting hard at the plate, full count now. Klochek, she's gotten so close on a few of these batters, but just can't seem to put them away.
And this has been a really, really solid offensive inning for Minnesota. Obviously, putting up the 5 runs is very nice, but the approaches that they've had at the plate have looked much better than in the earlier frames.
Grounder to the second baseman. Throw to second, not in time. Meeks just tried to dump one off to Campbell, but she was not going to make that play in time, and the inning continues once again for Purdue.
I don't understand that decision from Meeks in the slightest. I mean, not even just the glove flip, just the decision to go 2-second on that play. It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, Campbell wasn't over at the bag plate when the inning has already gotten out of your hands. You don't want to see someone that can put the ball over the wall at the plate, and there it goes.
And Krapf right on cue, over the wall. Nothing she can do but look at it. Krapf, another 3-run bomb here in the 4th inning. Rounding third, and the entire team is there to greet her. Suddenly, Minnesota takes an 8-6 lead. Wow, what a shift, Max. And everyone here in Purdue gear is stunned. Taylor Krapf with an absolute missile over the left center field wall off of Julia Gossett. An 8 spot in the 4th inning. She got all of that one and knew it right away.
Yeah, the first pitch from Gossett just absolutely nuked out, and it was a bad pitch, granted, but you know, literally I was in the middle of saying that's not who you want to see at the plate when everything seems to be slipping away, and now it has all slipped away, and the explosion has turned into a nuclear level meltdown in this top of the 4th frame.
At a point where Minnesota seemed like they could just do no right at the plate. 8 runs here in the top of the 4th, and they are not done. It seems like there's been at least 2 or 3 times where Minnesota recorded an out and then, got a single and then got a walk. And then, we saw what turned into a home run there for Krapf, but just not going away at all here this half inning.
And the struggles that Minnesota had in the 1st inning are not dissimilar from the struggles that Purdue is having here in the top of the 4th. Granted, this is much more defense inflicted on the Purdue side than it was on Minnesota. It felt like more unlucky that what happened to the Gophers in the bottom of the 1st, but now for Purdue, all you can really do is just look in the mirror and say, we kind of did this to ourselves.
Certainly. A lot of self-inflicted wounds, and certainly ones that began to add up. That one popped into the sky. Scarmardo gets under it, makes the play, and finally the inning is over. Purdue went through 3 different pitchers, and Minnesota erupts in the 4th inning, putting up 8 to go from down 6 to up 2. You see the electricity there amongst the Golden Gophers.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
For Delaney Reese, and now 2 runners in scoring position with just 1 out. This is a prime position to tie this game for Purdue.
A lot of momentum shifting back to the side of the Boilermakers. With 1 swing of the bat, Reef could tie this game up or even take the lead. That one is low, ball 1.
And really, honestly, any base hit through the infield probably scores too, just with the speed on second base with Banks. Because as long as she gets a good jump, she's probably going to beat any throw in.
Reef watches that one go by, off speed for ball 2. See a 385 average with runners in scoring position. Ball 3. A walk obviously would not hurt the Boilermakers here. Reef hits that one up in the air. Valencia getting underneath it. Throw to the plate, not in time. So a sacrifice fly for Delaney Reef. Campbell scores from third, and the Boilermakers have cut the lead to 1.
Yeah, that was not a deep fly ball for Reef, but it gets the job done all the same. Campbell was tagging the entire way, and the throw ended up pulling Krapf up the line. As you can see the replay here, Krapf just had to come way up the line to go get that. No chance of getting Campbell even with a good throw, I don't think. And so Purdue gets one more back and cuts the lead to just one.
Thought it was kind of a 50-50 call on if Frazzati was going to send the runner or not. Chooses to, and like you said, a very inaccurate throw kind of didn't really give Krapf any chance of making a play there. Now another big moment for Gossett. Still that runner on third. It's Reef. Excuse me, that's Banks. Here comes the 2-1. That one high for ball 3.
A good at bat here for Gossett, and Purdue has finally really gotten to Natalie Sousa as the dugout for Purdue is starting to get more into this game.
And Gossett drives that one into center field, over the head and off the wall. Gossett rounding second. A stand-up double for Julia Gossett, and we are tied once again here in Bittinger Stadium. Coming up clutch once again, the sophomore delivers a bomb over the head of Breezy Burnett, and we are knotted up at 8 apiece.
Yeah, nice swing from Gossett there, taking the 3-1 pitch for a ride out into center, one hop in the fence. Obviously easy score for Banks, who was moving on contact, but a big swing for Julia Gossett, who gets herself a little bit of help and ties the game at 8.
And the party continues in the Boilermaker dugout. The celebrations have been going on all game, even when the Boilermakers were trailing, and now it's all smiles after that big-time hit for Gossett.
And so Ramos is getting pinch hit here for Kendall Bailey now into the game for Purdue. Bailey's had a decent year. She's had a lot of starts, 28 starts, 31 appearances, this being her 32nd game played. 222 average, but she does have a lot of power, and 17 RBIs on the season for her puts her into the upper ranks of the Boilermakers.
That one outside. Wonder if Coach Maggie Frazzati wanted to get another lefty into the lineup. Obviously, Sousa's seen these batters quite a bit now. And having that righty on lefty matchup, super important. Big swing and a miss there by Bailey. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, and there are 2 arms getting loose in the Minnesota bullpen right now, but I presume that they're going to try and get Sousa to finish out this inning before anything else.
Smack down the line and foul. Sousa now with 73 pitches. They're only 2.2 innings. Into left field, base hit. Gossett being held up at third. Bailey's gonna roll all the way to second. It's a 2-out double once again for the Boilermakers. And runners in scoring position, and once again, Max, with 2 outs. That's when the Boilermakers have been taking care of business. We saw it with Minnesota 1 inning ago, and now the Boilermakers with a 2-out rally of their own, just 1 inning later.
Yeah, Purdue just continues to do a nice job just going with the pitch location and driving it the other way. Such an underrated skill that teams really need to have. You can't pull everything unless, you've got ridiculous power, which really nobody on Purdue does. So you have to take the ball the other way. You have to go opposite field, and that's exactly what Kendall Bailey did.
Good awareness to take that extra base as the ball kind of got away from Taylor Krapf there. The throw into the plate. Oh, 0-2 now for Maura Condon. Another great day at the plate, 2 for 2. She was hit by a pitch in the 4th and then left stranded on 3rd.
Yeah, Condon's had the best game of any Boilermaker at the plate thus far. 4 RBIs to her name. A chance to add 5 and 6 right now.
Condon smacks that. Picked up by the third baseman, and the throw is in time. So Purdue stranding 2 more runners, but the damage was done. They tie this game up at 8 apiece. Don't go anywhere for the final 2 innings. You're watching Big Ten Plus.
Obviously, a couple of East Coast, not even East Coast, I mean, we're not on the East Coast, but still, a couple of East Coast trips for Minnesota before they head back to the Central Time Zone for the rest of their regular season. Kind of an interesting thought, considering that the Big Ten is now essentially nationwide.
Now coast to coast.
Yeah, so, I mean, you play in the West Coast. I think the only time zone that the Big Ten is not in is Mountain Time, because I believe the furthest west you go before hitting the West Coast is Nebraska, and Nebraska's in Central.
Nebraska is in Central.
I mean,
yeah.
You'll head to the Eastern Time Zone here in Indiana, and then everything to the east of us. So Rutgers, Ohio State, Indiana, Michigan State.
At this rate, it's only a matter of time before they have a Mountain West team joining the Big Ten, and we'll be here for it.
I think we're going to add a team from England in the next couple of years. We might be playing Oxford soon.
2-1 here. To the batter, to the catcher, Taylor Krapf. Krapf 2 for 3 with a 3-run home run. That was the go-ahead home run, part of the 8-run 4 inning that Minnesota had. That one outside, and Krapf is aboard. The go-ahead run, standing on first base now. Nani Valencia comes up, try and make something happen after a leadoff walk.
Yeah, pretty easy at bat there for Krapf. Not a ton of super competitive pitches from Gossett. She missed one just off the outside corner, but other than that, it wasn't too hard of sailing for the gopher catcher.
Saw Krapf almost looking like she wanted to steal there. Very focused over there on first base. Valencia, 2 for 3 on the day. Fouls that one away. Strike 1. Sort of a gut check for both teams here. Obviously, Minnesota trying to avoid the sweep. Both teams kind of in the bottom half of the Big Ten, so the wins meaning more now, than they did at the beginning of the season, it seems, especially with conference play. But 8-8 going into the top of the 7th. Major learning experience for both of these teams.
And to your point, these teams are going to face some of the top dogs in Big Ten softball soon. Obviously, Minnesota will play Oregon at home, and then Purdue heads to Columbus to take on Ohio State. So a lot of ranked opponents coming up for both of these teams, which can always be difficult. But, this is where you get your wins, and obviously Purdue would love a sweep here. And then that would solidify their Big Ten record to, I believe, 6-7 on the year. And then that puts them ever closer to a home tournament here in West Lafayette in the Big Ten tournament.
On the ground with some backspin, tough play, and she's safe. Valencia called safe after she kind of chopped that one off the end of the bat, and that ball just kind of spun there, making it for a tough play for Meeks, and just not enough time.
Yeah, that was a really difficult situation for Olivia Meeks over there at second. That one right off the cap of the bat and just beat it out. Just barely got there.
Still a good effort there by Meeks. She only beat out the throw by about half a step, it seems. Show up in big opportunities here in this game. Chavez is 0 for 3. Swing and a miss there for strike one.
From Minnesota here, they do rely on the long ball quite a bit, but at this point you just want to get the runners over, and that's exactly what they're going to do.
Just a bunt, and Scamardo throws on to first in time for the first out. Minnesota now in the same situation that Purdue was in just a half inning ago. See if they can make the most of it.
Yeah, and that's the right play for the Gophers. Just move the runners over, get them into scoring position, a good bunt. And obviously you'll sacrifice the one out for the 120 feet of added bases. And so we'll get a pinch runner for the Gophers at second base. It'll be Riley Gardner taking over for Valencia at second. So a bit of speed added to the Gophers. Just 120 feet away from home.
Gardner, a 5'6" graduate student playing outfield primarily. She's from Dyersville, Iowa. And her speed will be needed here. Mentioned this game is kind of like a chess match towards the end, with all the coaches kind of doing everything they can with substitutions and changing pitchers and shifts. Ball 2 inside.
And Gossett keeps peering in to see where she's missing. She's had a couple of those close ones on the black called balls. So just trying to tighten up those corners a little bit for her.
Called strike on Snippes. That one low, taken for ball 3. Gossett not as sharp as she was a few days ago.
And that was another one of those that just nibbling on the edge for Gossett, not able to hit the zone.
Ball 4, and the bases are loaded for Breezy Burnett. A 5-pitch walk there to Snippes. And Minnesota is in business here in the top of the 7th.
Yeah, and the infield's going to be in for Purdue. Obviously, your forces are going to come at home.
Situation like this, it's all about making the right throw. No need to get greedy and try and turn a double play with a runner 90 feet from the plate. That one outside once again. Control for Gossett, just a bit of an issue now.
Still, the free passes are an issue.
And Burnett smacks one all the way to the wall. That's going to score multiple runners. Rounding third, all the way at third is tagged out. She is tagged out. Burnett's tagged out at third, but not before scoring 3 more runs. Minnesota jumps up to an 11-8 lead, and once again, Breezy Burnett coming through when it matters most. Minnesota clears the bases to take the lead in the 7th.
Yeah, Burnett has not been hitting well on the season at all. Hitting a mere 194 coming into this one, but able to rip that one into the left center field gap and clear the bases with a double. She got tagged out at third on what was a pretty silly decision to try and take the third bag, but I don't think she'll mind too much. As a bases clearing double puts Minnesota ahead once again into double digits on the game now in a series where they've only scored 1 run in 2 games. Now they've scored 11 in 6 innings.
That ball floated up and hitting the net. No play for Reef, but like you said, Max, the offense just taking control. You see kind of an ill-advised decision by Burnett to go to third. Definitely caught me off guard as Snippus was rounding third, headed for the plate. But what a piece of timely hitting. The hardest hit ball all weekend for Burnett.
Yeah, the third base coach was not too happy with her. Gave her a smack with the oven mitt when she ran by.
Scamardo makes the third out, but Minnesota taking the lead. They loaded the bases, and Breezy Burnett, bases clearing double. Purdue in a 3-run hole, bottom of the seventh. Last chance for the Boilermakers after conceding 3 runs. And the top of the seventh. It'll be Polar, Reef, and Gossett, a trio of sophomores due up. Some of the best hitters on the team. And these Boilermaker fans need them most now. Trailing 11-8 with just 3 outs to go. Purdue once led 6-0 earlier on in this game. Blew that lead, then came back to tie it up. Polar pops that one up. Tobias gets under it, and a very quick first out for Mariah Polar.
Yeah, just not Mariah Polar's day at the plate today, really. I mean, just getting way under that one, not locking the wrists, and just a really meek pop-up out to the shortstop.
Now Delaney Reef swings at the first pitch and drives that one right up at the center fielder, Burnett. Hard hit ball for Reef, and she's aboard with 1 out.
Pretty shocked that Burnett wasn't able to pull that one in. She just kept kind of backing up. I think if she didn't move, that was going to be a shoestring catch for her. Kind of an interesting decision out there in center, but perhaps it was not as close as it may have seemed.
Definitely looked like she could have made a play on it. Got to imagine she was just being risk averse, to say the least. If she tried to make a diving catch and doesn't come up with it, well, Reef is going to get extra bases.
That was a nice block back there by Krapf, keeping that right in front of her, not letting Reef take second.
Reef with 4 steals on the year. Interesting to see how aggressive she is there at first. The worst thing you can do in this situation, Max, is get an out from trying to steal a base here.
You never want to have the last out of the game be at second or third on a steal. And I highly doubt that Reef is going to take off at any point.
Strike 2 swinging for Julia Gossett now. 2-2. Sydney Schwartz has kind of come in and slammed the door a little bit on this Boilermakers offense. Fouled away.
And if the game ends in a Minnesota victory, she'd pick up the win. She'd probably think, that was pretty easy, considering the current record that she has at 4-12.
Here comes the 2-2. Popped up by Gossett. That one is slicing and will be out of play into the bleachers. And a bunch of lucky fans chase after it. A little bit of action in the Minnesota bullpen. Just a snip is warming up just in case things go to extras. And a big cut and a swing and a miss by Julia Gossett. Strikeout, the third one of the day for Sydney Schwartz. And Purdue down to their final at-bat now.
Yeah, Gossett, I mean, that was really just a half-hearted swing. Only went 3/4 of the way around. Regretted the choice as soon as she took the swing.
Now it'll be Jordan Ramos. She was pinch hit for earlier on in the game. Now coming back in Looking for her first hit of the day. Fouled it away. 0-2 now. Sydney Schwartz fully in command. Boilermakers down to their last strike. That one high. Good eye there by Ramos. Gotta imagine Swartz was just trying to get Ramos to chase there. Ramos smacks that one into the gap. Tough play, and it's made. Burnett crashing in to make the third out, and Minnesota avoids the sweep. They once trailed 6-0, came all the way back to win it 11-8. 2 3-run home runs and a bases clearing double in the 7th by Breezy Burnett. And there she is with the final out of the game.